the Beyblade Metal Masters. Go Vixen, yeah! And I said Vixen, not that other word it sounds like. And I also do the voice, or I will be doing the voice of Dean Gordon, who's the dean of the university in the upcoming season of Totally 5. And I'm also doing various guest characters on a show called Sidekick, which is running on TV. I do the voice of, there's two main characters that I did. One is called
Swift Mormon. He's a really, really desperate fanboy of Max and Man.
Really nervous, sort of little mole-looking guy. And another character that I play is named Glenn, and he is also a very young
8-year-old, even more desperate fanboy of Eric Needles, who was his best friend ever.
That's someone I've been in. I decided to start pursuing voiceover in 2004. Started doing it professionally in 2006, and yeah, in various series.
Now let's introduce the guy in the middle. We're so on.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Sardina. I just started my pro career Thursday when I got the role for when I got a role for a character in Frozen 5.
Not sarcastic laugh at all. It's actually really exciting. It's really exciting.
But on the internet, I'm more so known as Antfish.
Yeah. Fan of Antfish here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hi everybody. I'm Ben. I've been voice acting for about the same amount of time as Mac has, but I focus most of my energies on commercials. So you guys have, if you live in Canada, you have heard my voice way too many times on the radio, in movie theaters, on TV. Just voice, you don't see my face. I'm in a ton of commercials. And just started doing cartoons a couple of years ago. I started doing Arthur, the little kids show. I'm sure some of you guys know that show really well. It's been on TV for 17 years. I actually can't wrap my head around that, because I recorded a couple months ago, and they're like, season 17. Really? I'm recording an episode for season 17? So it's good, and I play the Spanish next-door neighbor, Alberto Molina. And I'm on Beyblade, and I play the part of Toby, and Faust next week, as was pointed out by our #1 fan over here, who knows the entire layout of our whole season. And really excited to be here, and all that jazz. So, get started. Does anybody want to talk about Beyblade, or talk about voice acting in general, or have questions about either subject or anything like that?
I want to ask you a question. Why do these things, why do they go upside down instead of what's the term of
Being upside down, it'll fit.
basically you can take this out, go to here, and it'll basically spin upside down.
Well, so I'll tell you. So when it comes to the characters in the show, you're not supposed to be able to do that. But by the laws of science, you can, because it's a symmetrical shape, and so the thing can swap. Because anything that fits in one way can probably fit in the other way. So that's why you can do it. But you should probably keep it the way it's supposed to work, because the balance of the toy stays on specifically by the way that you're doing it. So if you flip it upside down, it's not going to fight as well.
Actually, it's supposed to.
This one. Oh, this one. Oh, this is the 4Ds one. Oh, okay. Well, then that's because it's designed to do it that way. It's actually supposed to work that way. But why? Because that's the point. I can't tell you why the creators decided to make it that way.
I don't understand.
Why can't you just figure out that it would be more fun to play it that way? You can flip it upside down, you can flip it right side up, and you know what? Eventually, you can flip them on their side. And then they would look like wheels. I mean, boom, like that, just spin around like tires. See, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Charlie, can you do your Toby voice?
Unfortunately, because I'm a little bit sick, I can't really do my Toby voice right now, but I can try. But hard work will not let you down. That boy? You like that? Someone? Okay. Fanning does great. Biggest fan and biggest critic right here, one person. I love this kid. Anybody else have any questions about
I have a
anything?
question about voice acting in general. What I'm considering a career path in voice acting. What kind of education would I need, and what kind of craft am I expected to take in the workforce?
I'm going to say it's absolutely not a requirement by any means to have any kind of certification and whatnot. You know, getting a degree in theater or whatever isn't going to guarantee you're going to get an agent or something like that. What really matters is what you're able to deliver as a talent. And you absolutely can get a whole lot out of, getting involved in theater, whether that's at a university level, whether it's either being involved with community theater. But you can also get just a whole lot out of it. One of the top things I actually tell people is to pay attention to what you see on TV. Because those guys are working, and there's a reason for it. There's so much that you can learn from TV, and when you hear something that's like, oh, the way the person said that was interesting. And emotionally, I got this from it. Maybe if I were to mimic that, if I were to do something kind of like that, I could have the same emotional response in other people as well. That's definitely a key thing to do. I would also say pay attention to a lot of people around you. Everybody's got their own unique mannerisms, dialects, their own unique little quirks that make them distinct. I could personally attest to the fact that I've had a role that I tried out for once that was for a Hawaiian sea otter. And a Hawaiian 15-year-old sea otter that drives a station wagon or something. It's pretty awesome. Now,
Why does it sound so familiar?
I don't know where you want it. It's Tune and Puddle is the name of the show.
Yes, I auditioned for it as well. I recall.
Tune and Puddle was the name of the show, and of course I needed to have a Hawaiian accent. I don't know a Hawaiian accent. So I was thinking, what's one of the most distinct things that I know? And then I was thinking of this friend that I have, great guy, but he's got a very quirky voice. His name is Lawrence, and he's from the Philippines. And he had this very distinctive accent. He'd only lived in Canada for about 2 years. His accent was still very, very strong. And I remember the way he'd always talk to me was like, Mac, look, are we going to be going to the computer class today? I don't really know how to work this thing, So I was like, I'm going to do that because I don't know what's going to work for Hawaii. So I do that. I figured, this is something I'm throwing out there. And then I get a call 2 weeks later saying, hey, I booked this audition. So when I go in there and I'm reading to the producer and they say, man, that's a great Hawaiian accent. Where did you learn that? And I'm like, actually, I don't really know Hawaiian dialect. I just was imitating a Philippine friend of mine. And he says, well, you know what? That's good enough for us because we were fooled anyway. Go with that. So you never really know who you're going to learn from and where it's going to be applicable to professional field of work.
Furthermore, it's always good to take proper acting classes, on-camera acting, even though, for example, we don't do on-camera work, but having on-camera tutelage and being taught things from professionals who are on camera is also really good. I went to the Humber College for acting for film and television, and the program coordinator is Jean Bourgeois, who is a prominent Canadian actor. You can see him on a bunch of Canadian and American television shows, and he's larger than life. He's 6'4" and just this great big booming voice. And I've gone to auditions with him, like for cartoon characters and for radio commercials and stuff like that. So going through proper, quote unquote proper, because I don't know exactly what we would call proper or improper, but going for proper acting school is also very, very, very important for learning how to express yourself. Now on camera, a lot of stuff is done through facial expression, while in voice acting, a lot of it has to do with expressing the exact same things that you can express with a raised eyebrow to express it in the voice. Right? Just a little tweak to how your voice sounds gives off the impression that you have a raised eyebrow. So there's a lot of involvement with that, but 100%, as much schooling and classes that you can take the better. Because everybody who's working, anybody who's teaching you and who's working in the industry, like Matt said, is working for a reason. So listening to them and listening to the lessons that they have to teach can't harm you. Of course, all you need to do is learn how to pick and choose. When I was in Humber, we had teachers who, one teacher was like, no, you have to do it this way, and the other teacher, the class right after was like, no, you have to do it this way, and we were like, you guys are not even agreeing with each other, and the lesson is, figure it out on your own. Like, this works for him, this works for him, do what you want to do.
There's a number of very great voiceover instructors in the Toronto area. So if you look up, just look up voiceover workshop Toronto on Google, you're going to find a lot of names pop up. There's a lot of great people. Many of them are casting directors or dialogue directors for cartoons on TV right now. And if you're someone who's really just starting out and they're really impressed by you, they may go as far as to recommend you to an agent just like that.
You can get really far. There's a lot of really good workshops. I would only suggest, and this is from personal experience, avoid any school that calls itself an institution of arts or an institution of voice acting, and who asks for an exorbitant amount of money, and then when you go in to audition for the school, everybody who auditions sounds great and perfect and fantastic. You know that's not a proper place. I went through a couple of auditions for those types of schools, and I never signed up because it was very, very obvious that they weren't legitimate. So just use your head and find out places and do some research and find the ones that are that have good reputations and that voice actors who you can look up or speak to, like us, will say, yeah, you know what, we've heard of those guys. That guy is great. Go check him out. Oh yeah, it's a buddy of mine. I went out to dinner with him not long ago. Yeah, he's an awesome voice actor. You can learn stuff from him. Like, you can, look it up, research it. You'll find tons of great workshops in Toronto specifically and all over Canada, depending on where you are. Vancouver has a huge, huge, huge industry and lots of teachers there as well.
What about Kingston?
Kingston, I don't know if there's anything in Kingston. There very well could be. Oh, it's not? Well, maybe do some traveling, and like book a specific day at a specific time, and then that coming in, you'll have to come in, for 2 hours or whatever, and then you can go home or whatever. I mean, if you're really passionate about it, there's nothing that can hold you back. I mean, if you're eating, breathing, sleeping, voice acting, if you're hearing little voices in your head, and when a tragedy happens to you, you're like, hey, you know what? I can actually use this emotion that I'm feeling right now next time my character is sad. When you're doing stuff like that, nothing can stop you, I guarantee you.
Well, I like to do voice acting as like a hobby right now. Like, shameless plug, I run a site called Voice Acting Alliance.
Oh yeah.
They're both.
Oh, yeah.
So I've done like fan subs and a bridge series and stuff like that, but
That's awesome.
I don't know where to look to audition for actual
Work.
Like for actual work. Like, do they ever have open auditions, or would you need an agent? Or
Well, yeah, I've been on the Voice Acting Alliance for a while, but I kind of stopped because
it goes dry.
Yeah.
It's been really dry.
There was this one thing though that I did audition for called The Journey Down. And it was this point and click game, and I auditioned for it, and I had no idea how huge it was going to end up. Like, you can buy it and whatnot, and I mean, I didn't get paid for it, but still, it's great exposure and all that. But there is another site I know of, Voice Buddy.
There's a number of paying sites online. You can definitely get a lot of paid just from your own home studio. There's of course going to be a lot of competition though, because you're competing with people all over the world. Got sites like Voices.com, Voice123.com, and Voice Buddy, as Anthony mentioned.
Voice Bank?
No, Voice Bank is not.
Yeah, it's just where you put like.
I just know that I'm on there.
We're all on. Yeah, we're all on.
I think
Your agent will put you there.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
so when
like auditioning for maybe like say animated or video game roles.
you need an agent.
You would need an agent.
Most of it, like not 100%.
I'm going to say if you want to get on like in TV animation here, you will need an agent.
Absolutely, because it is unionized. So like I time part of the actual union. You know, I had to do 6 union jobs before I was able to become a full union member. And for each union job that when you're not a part of the union yet, you have to pay a fee. And so, I mean, there's a ton of work, and directors have to believe in you enough as an actor to be like, oh, you're non-union, but you have a union agent and you want to do union work. You know what? We will pay the extra money and we will do the extra work.
And that's what just happened with this guy.
And that's exactly what just happened with this guy, with a great director. And it happened with me with commercials. I did, I actually went from being non-union to being union in a very short period of time. But you really have to speak to agents, and it's hard. I mean, lots of people get turned down by agents. Lots of people, you know, sometimes you're in the right place at the right time, and you just happen to get lucky. You know, that's what happened with me after I had moved back from. I lived in Vancouver for a while doing voice acting, and I came back, and I was very lucky to find an agency here. But it's a lot of hard work. And you can't give up. And the most important thing that you need to know about. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. The most important thing about voice acting, and all 3 of us, I'm sure, will agree with this, is that you really need to be okay with people saying no to you, because you go for hundreds of auditions, and they'll say no to you 99 times, if not 100 times. And you have to be okay with, you know, that 1 out of 100 or that 1 in 1,000 where they say yes. You can be like, yes, that makes it all worth it. I don't remember any of the auditions where I didn't get something.
Yeah, it'll drive you
crazy. It'll drive you crazy.
Every time you audition, taking each day and be like, oh man, I get called, I get called. You can't have that.
You can't. Yeah, absolutely, and you can't ride everything on it, because it's not personal. Unless the director looks at you and says, hey, you are terrible. I can't believe that you did this on this line and this on this line and this on this line, which they never would. That's the only time that you can take it personally. Otherwise, you know what? 700 people also auditioned for the same role, and somebody else just happens to fit it a little better than you did.
It's not a matter of being bad, it's just a matter of not always being the thing exactly.
Yeah, I think the VAA really helped me with that one, because, like, I've auditioned for a lot of things in the VAA, and I got rejected a ton of times before I finally found Final Fantasy 16 fan that I did.
That's awesome.
And so, it's like, no, yes. And that yes is, like, huge.
Huge.
Completely, yes.
You did mention video games before. I will say there is a lot of demand for video game voice acting being done online. So if you do look at sites like the voiceactingalliance.com, you will every now and then.
You'll get a gym, yeah.
Voiceactingclub.com and even newgrounds.com. You'll see people posting about, hey, I need this for this indie game I'm making. And you've got a lot of people who are making things for Xbox Live Arcade or for iPhone. There's a very, very large market for that. There's always going to be demand.
I think looking up, like, Googling independent gaming companies in Toronto and emailing them and saying we'd love to offer you your services.
I think that can absolutely be an option, but before doing that, you definitely do want to have a voice demo that says, hey, you know, this is the kind of thing I'm capable of. It's not a good idea to just go out and start mass emailing people and not being able to really show what you can do. So a demo is very,
very, very important to have a demo. I have to agree. I've been a voice actor for 8 years, and I'm just starting to make my demo.
You have a commercial demo,
but made from actual work, right? It was thrown together by my agent, so I never made a demo. And I have to tell you, exactly what you're saying. It makes it 10 times harder to be able to go out and work, because directors, without a demo, directors have to basically go on your agent's work. And it's like, oh yeah, he's good, so let's listen to him. Otherwise, you know, a lot of directors won't listen to me because I don't have a commercial demo. I didn't have a commercial demo. I don't have an animation demo. They're like, you know, whatever. Luckily, you know, I've been able to get some work. But yeah, a demo is definitely one of the things.
I think that's also something really cool to discuss. Would be like how to make a demo reel.
That's something that we could talk about for about 6 days straight. So we're not going to cover that right now. It can be a very intensive process. You help people with animation demos. I help people with commercial demos. So we could probably sit here and talk about it all day.
I'll keep it brief. The purpose of the demo is to show off as much of your ability in the shortest amount of time possible. I've had people give me demos where it's them just rambling on in one voice for 30 seconds, and then another voice for 30 seconds. The demo ends up being like 10 minutes long. And nobody wants to listen to that as a producer, and they maybe will be listening to 200 demos in a day. They won't have time for that. Oftentimes, I will give somebody, because I have so many things to listen to sometimes, I will give somebody 15 seconds, and if they don't impress me by then, I might move on to the next demo. So oftentimes, you want to maybe even have just about 5 to 7 seconds to one voice, and then move on to the next. It's really, really crucial to get the best, most effective use of your time.
And make it fun.
Absolutely.
Make it interesting. Don't just have, you know, this is one voice, this is another voice, this is another voice. Like, no.
I don't just want to hear voices. I want to hear
creativity.
I want to hear emotions, and I do want to hear creativity.
Absolutely. You had one.
In the style, it's 3 questions. One, does that use a die in Metal Fury? Because it looks like it dies in Metal Fury, and because it uses rock sticks of energy to grab his.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. You got to keep watching. That's it. You got to keep watching. You know, because if you're talking about Metal Fusion,
I've seen. Yeah,
is that what we're recording right now?
It's what we're recording right now.
We're recording Metal Fusion.
Metal Fusion was the first season. Then we're in Metal Masters, and then we're also in 4D.
Okay, so in 4D, you know, you got to keep watching, buddy.
Tune in and find out.
Tune in. We're not allowed to tell you things. Come on.
And another question is, give me 2 stickers here, but I'm not sure what
Put the stickers wherever you want to put them. They're stickers. They're for fun.
When I have extra stickers, I put them on my forehead.
Yeah, stickers on the forehead is great.
Why does that?
Well, it's because for other things we might have something else to happen. You know? So be patient.
We're going to try to do a bit of a mock audition with a script for a video game that we have. We'll have a bunch of movies here as part of it.
And we'll have some fun with
Stick around.
audition. Yes, sir.
I just graduated as a recording engineer in August, and I'm looking for places to apply for recording jobs. I was just wondering, what studios in Toronto do you guys work at?
There's a lot more studios in Toronto than you think there are.
Yeah.
A ton. Yeah.
If you're looking for a place to do, you want to do
Like
sound
dialogue
engineering,
editing,
right?
voice editing
Okay,
for animation
okay.
specifically.
If you go to Google, look up post in Toronto, and they'll have a whole bunch of different stuff where it's like video editing, audio, post, dialogue, and whatnot. If you look up recording engineering, then they'll have just a whole like list of alphabetical orders of different post recording houses. That's what I do. That's what I'm currently doing right now. So one place I could recommend is Frameworks, I think is a good one. Syndicate Sound.
Syndicate Sound is good. There's also schools like Humber College or